Hi, Warren.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good.
This is the first we're seeing you since the announcement that you had stage 1 cancer.
Yeah, well,
How are you doing, and what are the shareholders saying?
100%. I don't feel any different anyway. Energy level, anything. So it's really, at my age anyway. It's one of the good things about being 81. It's the time to get it.
What are your shareholders saying about it?
Well, I've gotten lots of mail, but usually they say welcome to the club.
Right. But, you know, it has sparked the interest in you really articulating your succession plan. And the AFL-CIO is going to present a proposal on Saturday, as you know, about pressing you to detail directly about who will take over. And what do you think about that? And I know the board has to vote, but what do you think?
Well, I'm curious as to who's going to succeed the present head of the AFL-CIO. It'll be very interesting. If you look at ExxonMobil, you look at Apple, you look at the companies we own, American Express, Coca-Cola, Wells Fargo, I don't know who the next person's going to be. I just know that the board, that's one of their jobs to take care of that.
Your business, Berkshire, is almost a proxy for the economy. You have some 80 businesses. What's looking weak? What's looking strong? And again, how are your housing-related companies doing?
Well, almost, we do have 70 plus businesses, and last year all of them did well, except in the residential construction field. And this year all of them are doing well. In other words, I named our 5 largest companies outside of insurance last year that are not in home construction. They're all doing better this year than they were last year. They're ahead of last year, and I think they'll stay that way. If you had to pick a tick one way or the other in home construction, you'd say that the tick was up, but it's very, very, very slight.
Well, we stood in this parking lot a year ago, and you said, I predict the housing market will do better in a year, and it was an incorrect prediction. You're allowed, but can you give us your new one-year prediction?
Well, no, I've learned. If you didn't have such a good memory, I'd tell you.
Do you see any danger with those low interest rates overall? Do you see any danger that the Fed is keeping rates way too low and that we're setting ourselves up for major inflation down the road? Do you see that?
Well, I think that's fairly likely. I don't know exactly when it takes off, but if you could keep rates at this level and pour money into the economy and there were no side effects, we'd have been doing it a long time ago. There are side effects, but they're delayed.
Do you think it's working? Do you think what the Fed has done has been the appropriate approach?
Yeah, I think it has. I mean, they saw a country in free fall 3.5 years ago, and they had to act in a big way, and they had to convince the American public that they had the will and the ability to step in when nobody else was stepping in. The whole world was deleveraging. Somebody had to leverage up, and it was only going to be the Fed. So they did the right thing.
You found a way to pick certain stocks. It titillated a lot of investors that you finally bought tech stocks. Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to buy IBM and Intel? Was it Ted Wexler's? Was it Todd Combs, your new investment managers?
Well, it was my idea, but if it doesn't work out, we'll say it was Charlie's.
But your new investment managers weren't the ones who brought to you the idea, because you've traditionally really stayed away from investing in technology.
They did not know I was buying it. I don't tell them.
Really?
Yeah. Charlie didn't know I was buying it until I was way into it, maybe halfway through. But no, I don't talk to Ted and Todd about what I'm buying or selling or what they're buying or selling. We all go our own way on that.
Can I just ask you about attendance for this year? Will it be a record breaker?
It'll be about this. I think it's going to be just the tickets were a record breaker, but not by much, and I think we'll have about 35,000.
1 year ago, Donald Trump was making a lot of noise about running for president, and you and Charlie stood up on stage during one of the press conferences and said, Donald Trump will not be our next president. Now we have it, what appears to be, down to President Obama and Mitt Romney. How do you think it looks?
Well, I think Obama is a favorite, but I think it will depend very much on the economy in the 3 months prior to November.
If the economy starts to get worse, how much does that hurt President Obama?
It hurts a lot. No, he will be looked at as either getting credit for whichever direction it goes, and that's just the way the American people will react. And I think it's more likely to be improving than not. Everything I see says that, but we'll find out.
You still support President Obama?
100%, yeah.
Facebook may steal a little bit of your thunder. They finally priced their IPO, and they have the range out there. Don Graham of the Washington Post, who is a friend of yours, is sitting on their board. Would you buy a share of Facebook? Is that a stock that you'd ever look at?
No, I kind of ventured quite a ways out to buy IBM. My Facebook would be, then my doctor would require a checkup then.
Before we get drenched on here, last year, a big story last year at the meeting was David Sokol of Mid-American Energy, who had resigned. And of course, there was a lot of question about his behavior. I know it affected you and Charlie deeply back then. Where does the investigation with the SEC stand? Is there any development on that?
None that I know of, but that was the last time I talked, well, the only time I talked to the SEC was in June of last year, and they came out, it was informal, there were no oaths, no nothing. I mean, in fact, they didn't even, it wasn't recorded, but they asked a bunch of questions, I gave them the answer, and that's the last I've heard. I know we're paying significant legal fees every month, in the range of $150,000 or $200,000 a month to his lawyers, so somebody...
To his lawyers?
Yeah, we have to pay his lawyers until there's a final adjudication, if there is one.